Chapter 1. The Bond. Between partners. Officer Daniel Hayes had always believed that a police officer's best partner was one he could trust with his life. For the past 3 years, that partner had been Max, a German shepherd with an unwavering sense of duty. Max wasn't just a police dog, he was family. Daniel and Max worked together in the K9 unit of the Willow Creek Police Department, responding to dangerous situations, tracking criminals, and finding missing people. The connection between them was more than professional. It was deep and unbreakable. Every morning, Daniel would wake up to Max's excited barking, his tail wagging as if he knew another adventure awaited them. They trained together, ate together, and even shared quiet moments after long shifts. But neither of them knew that their toughest test was just around the corner. Chapter 2. Signs of Trouble. It was a chilly November morning when Daniel and Max were dispatched to a call about a burglary in progress at a warehouse on the outskirts of town. The suspect was armed and dangerous. As they arrived, Daniel felt a strange tightness in his chest. He shook it off, probably just exhaustion from their back-to-back shifts. "Stay close, Max," he whispered as they entered the dimly lit warehouse. Max, ever alert, sniffed the air and let out a low growl. He sensed danger before Daniel did. The suspect bolted from behind a stack of crates, gun in hand. Daniel pursued him, adrenaline taking over. His heart pounded, and his vision blurred for a second, but he had no time to dwell on it. Max lunged, knocking the suspect down just as a gunshot rang out. The bullet missed Daniel by inches. "Good boy," Daniel breathed as he cuffed the man. But something wasn't right. His chest felt heavier, his arms weaker. Max whimpered, sensing his handler's distress. They returned to the squad car, and Daniel took slow, steady breaths. "I'm fine, buddy. Just need some rest." But Max didn't believe him. Chapter 3. The Heart Attack. That evening, Daniel returned home with Max. His wife, Emily, greeted them at the door. "You look pale," she said, concern in her voice. "I'm fine," Daniel insisted, rubbing Max's head. The dog watched him closely, ears twitching. At midnight, the pain returned, sharper this time. Daniel woke up gasping for air, clutching his chest. His vision darkened, and he collapsed onto the floor. Max barked frantically, circling him. He nuzzled Daniel's face, trying to wake him. When that didn't work, he bolted toward the bedroom, jumping onto Emily's bed. "Max, what?" Emily stopped when she saw the panic in the dog's eyes. Then she heard it, a faint groan from the hallway. She rushed out and found Daniel unconscious. "Daniel!" she screamed, dialing 911. Max ran back to his handler, licking his face, nudging him, refusing to let him go. The paramedics arrived minutes later. "His pulse is weak," one of them said. "We need to get him to the hospital now." Max whimpered as they carried Daniel away. He wanted to go with him, but hospital rules wouldn't allow it. Emily stroked Max's fur. "He'll be okay, buddy." "He has to be." But Max wasn't convinced. Chapter 4. Max's Mission. At the hospital, doctors confirmed it. A severe heart attack. Daniel needed immediate surgery. Back at home, Max paced restlessly, whining at the door. He had never been apart from Daniel like this. Hours passed. Then a thought came to Emily. Maybe Max could help in some way. She grabbed his leash. "Come on, boy. We're going to see him." When they arrived at the hospital, Max barked excitedly at the entrance, trying to pull toward the emergency room. One of the doctors, Dr. Lewis, recognized him. "That's Officer Hayes' dog, right?" Emily nodded. Dr. Lewis hesitated, then smiled. "Let's bring him in. Maybe he can help." Max was led to Daniel's room. The moment he saw his handler lying motionless, tubes connected to him, Max whimpered. He jumped onto the bed, resting his head on Daniel's chest, listening to his heartbeat. Weak, but still there. For the first time since the heart attack, Daniel stirred. His fingers twitched, and he let out a faint breath. "Daniel!" Emily gasped. Max licked his face, his tail wagging furiously. Then, in a voice barely above a whisper, Daniel murmured, "Max, good boy." Chapter 5. A Life Saved. The doctors were stunned. Daniel's vitals had begun to stabilize the moment Max made contact with him. "It's incredible," Dr. Lewis said. "His presence triggered a positive response. It's like his body is fighting harder now." Over the next few days, Max refused to leave Daniel's side. Nurses allowed him to stay in the hospital room, understanding the unique bond they shared. Every morning, Max would gently nudge Daniel awake, and every day, Daniel got a little stronger. "You saved me, buddy," Daniel whispered one evening, scratching Max behind the ears. Max simply licked his hand, as if to say, "Of course I did. That's what partners do." Chapter 6. Back on duty. Weeks later, Daniel was finally discharged. His doctors called it a miraculous recovery. When he returned home, Max greeted him like he had been gone for years, barking, jumping, tail wagging nonstop. Daniel knelt beside him. "I owe you my life." Max licked his face as if to say, "Just doing my job." After months of recovery, Daniel returned to duty, but something had changed. He had a deeper appreciation for life, for family, and most of all for the four-legged partner who never gave up on him. From that day forward, whenever people asked Daniel who his greatest hero was, he had only one answer: my K9 partner, Max. Moral of the story: loyalty, love, and courage have no language. Sometimes the greatest heroes walk on four legs.